How do I confidently price my decorations? That's one of the questions that I always get from people who are just starting their event decorating business. So let's talk about it. My name is Lanyel Kuzar, and I'm the owner of Yes Event Academy. I teach people just like you, people who love to DIY their events. I teach them how to start an event decorating business and book clients. So let me answer that question with a story. A few years ago, I decided that I was going to switch from decorating events to teaching people how to start a business. So I've been decorating events now for over 10 years. My event decorating business, Yes, Event Decor and More, has been open for 7 years. When I first thought about teaching classes, in my head, I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I already had a YouTube channel. I had a YouTube channel with plenty of videos teaching people how to create decorations. I had a bunch of DIY tutorials that people could watch for free. So then I started going back and forth in my head. I was almost talking myself out of offering classes, paid classes, because I thought to myself, who's going to pay when I was already putting out free tutorials? That may sound familiar. You may be thinking the same thing. If you're offering free decorations to your family and your friends, you may be thinking, well, who's going to pay? Because I was already doing this for free. I ended up rolling out classes. And because I didn't really have confidence in my classes, I didn't really have confidence because I was saying to myself, oh, well, I've already been doing this for free. I don't know if people are going to pay. I rolled out my classes at super cheap prices. I was offering 6-week classes for $60. I rolled out my classes at super cheap prices. My prices were so cheap that my students were telling me to raise my prices. I had an in person class and I charged a really low price for it because I thought to myself, who's going to come? So I offered my in person class for a really cheap price. And one of the students that came to my class told me that she did her research and my class was way lower than everybody else's. So she told me, you need to raise your price. I started offering classes. And as I was offering classes, I got so much feedback from my students. They love my classes. They started to tell me, oh, you're such a good teacher. You need to do this. Like, we love your classes. Not only that, my students started to tell me that I was giving more information and doing more for them than they had ever got in other classes, right? So then I started to say to myself, all right, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to offer classes, I need to do research on how much other people are charging for their classes. There are so many people who are charging thousands of dollars for their classes. They're charging thousands of dollars for their mentoring program, for their coaching classes. And that's when I started to get the confidence in my classes because I thought to myself, I'm doing way more than what these other coaches are doing. And I'm doing it for a lot less money. My first set of classes that I offered when I was doing 6-week classes, teaching people how to start their business, and I'm teaching people, A to Z, how to start their business, it was $60. Then I raised my price to $175. When I did my research again, people were charging a minimum of $1,000, $1,200 for what I was offering for 175. I went on this website and there was this lady who was charging $4,000 for an online program pretty similar to what I was doing. When I was online doing my research, I was on Instagram. I came across coaches that were charging $10,000. for a 3-day workshop. 3 days. Here it was, I was offering 12-week classes, 8-week classes, 6-week classes, and I'm charging $60, $175. There are coaches where they do workshops 3 days and they're charging you $10,000. So when I started to see what other people were charging for their coaching programs, when I started to get the feedback from my students, they loved my classes. They were excited. They were ready to invest in more classes. That is when I got confidence in my pricing. Now I know that I'm offering the best pricing. I mean, my pricing is hands down the best pricing for all that you get. I am offering a complete training program with templates and classes and mentoring. So now I am 100% confident in my pricing because I know what everybody else is charging. So if you are brand new and you are wondering, how do I confidently charge my clients? I would highly recommend that you do the research in your area to see what other people are charging. And here's the thing, I want to challenge you because you may feel like you're not confident in your pricing because you see what other people are charging. And then you may be thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, that is so expensive. How can I charge those prices? I would highly recommend that you practice your decorations. Practice your decorations so that you can have confidence in what you're offering to clients. This is another reason why it's so good to help volunteer. Volunteer with your family and friends. Volunteer at your job. Volunteer with your community so you can start getting that feedback. Help people. I'm not saying that you have to pay for all their decorations. I'm not saying that you have to pay for all of their decorations, but volunteer to help out at events so people can start giving you that feedback. That is going to boost your confidence. Right? So everybody is nervous. I even get nervous when I decorate events. Nervous is good. It's good to be nervous before you start your business. It's good to be nervous before you put yourself out there. But you want to have confidence in your pricing. You want to have confidence in your ability to create something beautiful. Right? And a lot of times I have found that people sometimes are not confident in their pricing because they're not confident in their work. So they're looking at their decorations and they're comparing them to somebody else and they say, oh, well, my work doesn't look as good as theirs. And listen, I completely understand that feeling. There's no judgment here. When I first started my business, I was insecure about the fact that I was new. So when I was new starting my business, I thought that I had to offer super low pricing because I was new. I felt like I didn't have the quote unquote experience that other event decorators had. I didn't have the connections that other event decorators had and other event planners had. So my confidence wasn't where it needed to be either. I offered super low pricing when I started my business. My pricing was so unbelievably low, cheap, ridiculously low. I didn't make any money when I first started. I mean, I didn't make any money. And we'll talk about that in another video. So, how do you become confident in your pricing? Do your research. Once you see what other people are charging in your area, you will feel more empowered to charge that price as well. Even though I will tell you, so many people see what somebody else is charging and then they undercut them. So somebody else is charging $1,000, then they decide to come in, up, I'm going to charge 900. Up, I'm going to charge 500. Up, I'm going to charge 250. Right? So that's what happens in this industry a lot, is that people will undercut. Please don't do that. It's my mission. It's my mission through this channel to encourage you not to undercut. When you undercut somebody else in their pricing, you are now lowering the profit for yourself. Because if somebody else is charging $1,000, that means you can charge $1,000. And let me give you this example. So when you're driving, right, when you're driving along the road and you see two gas stations that are right next to each other, most likely they have the same exact pricing. Usually all of the gas stations coordinate their pricing. Everybody's pricing is the same. And if it's not the same, it's like a couple of cents off. It is relatively the same price. And they do that for a reason. They all coordinate their prices for a reason. If one gas station is charging a $1.99 for gas and the other one is charging $2.50 for gas, of course everybody is going to go to the $1.99 station, right? But the thing is that the person who's charging $1.99 for their gas, they could have charged $2.50. So they're not going to miss out on that profit. That's money that they are just leaving on the table. So anyways, you will hear me talk about that a lot on this channel because it happens so often. There's so many people who come into the industry and they just undercut. And that's the reason why prices in this industry have been going down. It's my mission through this channel to give everybody the confidence. I want you to have the confidence so that we all can make money. Here's another thing to keep in mind when you are starting your business and you're just starting out pricing. It's also important for you to keep your goals in mind. So how can you confidently price your event decorations? Be aware of what you're trying to accomplish with your business. So for me, it's really easy because my business pays my bills. So I'm really confident in my pricing because I need this business to pay my bills. I need to set my pricing at a point where I can afford to live off of it, right? So that's the thing. When you are really serious about making a profit, when you are really serious about your business goals, when you are really serious about this is what I want to accomplish with my business, then you're more confident in your pricing. Here's the thing. Sometimes people have a really hard time with money. They have a really hard time with charging people, right? So if you have a really hard time with charging people, that's going to be something that you have to work through. When you're starting a business, your business has to bring in money. So if you're starting a business where you want to make money, you have to charge people and be confident and comfortable in charging people. So if you have made it to the end of the video, I take it that you're serious about starting an event decorating business. So I want to extend the invitation to you to join my online academy. I don't just focus on the business side, I also focus on creating beautiful decorations. As you can see behind me, I am starting a balloon backdrop class. So this is an online academy you can join from anywhere in the world. I am going over how to create beautiful decorations. We start off with really simple decorations and work our way up to the more complicated decorations. And then I also teach you everything about the business. So marketing and finding clients and pricing. So we walk through a lot of different examples, and we also have a private community where we communicate with each other, ask questions, share information, so you'll connect with other event decorators in your area. So make sure you check the link below if you want to sign up for my training program. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.